Apple. What did you say about Apple? You said Apple is no longer a tech company, but then you changed that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think what it is sort of like it's in this migration to being a really interesting software business and a luxury good business. And it's trying to figure out how to navigate that and how to manage the brand and how to manage, how to sell $1,000 devices that have certain capabilities. But when you take a step back and actually look at that phone and compare it to a Pixel or the next generation Samsung, what you see is frankly the same product. And so what it has is brand. It has a sense of differentiation. And that's no different than Louis Vuitton or any other luxury good that you're willing to pay a premium for that may not really bear the cost of it if you look at the actual raw materials that go into it. And so they're going to have to make a really interesting transition because they're going to have to figure out how to land more of these iPhone 10s where, people like us are willing to pay $1,000, but what does that leave behind? And I think what it leaves behind is a market that's going to get consolidated even more by folks like Xiaomi or Samsung on the low end.
So it's a $1 trillion company, probably.
It definitely bleeds into that category because now you're just talking about, another 12 or 15% accretion from where they are. But the question has always been what do you do with all this money? What do you do with this scale? And especially
leave it in Ireland, I think, too.
Unfortunately, so far that's all they've done. And if you repatriate it, what should they be buying, if anything? I mean, I still think Tesla, Netflix, these are the businesses that Apple should be in the business of owning, just because it has so much operational leverage for them.
Do you think they will? Meaning once the tax policy shifts?
No. I think that they have funded, look, I mean, they've spent more on their building, quite honestly, than they have in any sort of major feature or product launch. So this is
talking that it's something between $1 billion and $5 billion.
I think it was a $10 billion campus or something. I mean, look, the point, they probably spent more to figure out how to curve the glass than, So they're at a point in time where I think they're being stewards. They need a generational transition where now people that are a little bit further divorced from the Steve Jobs legacy can take over those businesses, and then you'll either see it flounder or just completely go nuclear in a rocket ship. And we need that moment to come at some point.
How do you judge Tim Cook's leadership then?
Oh, I think he's been a great steward, but I think he's operated, like I said, again, as an outsider just looking at it, as not wanting to push the envelope too much by accidentally denigrating Steve's legacy.
But what do you look
Probably
at?
the right thing to do in that situation.
Yeah, and frankly, when you look at Microsoft, it's roughly the same thing where Ballmer tried the best he could, now slightly different circumstances, obviously, and then you needed a transition to someone like Satya.
I think that Tim Cook would say,
look
at the stock price, look at the market share, look at the revenue produced over the last.
None of those things I take away. What I'm saying is, has there been visionary product leadership? And I think what instead they've done is they've managed a business well that has been given to them.